Be me. 38 Senior Systems Architect. Be the guy in the hoodie in the corner who keeps the lights on. Work for a mid-sized logistics firm handling supply chain for medical tech. Stack is ancient but bulletproof. Linux kernel customized to hell and back, written in C and assembly. Uptime 99.999% for 5 years running. I don't do agile. I don't do stand-ups. I do what works, don't touch it. Salary is fat, stock options vested, life is quiet. My boss old Dave retires. Dave was a legend, knew that if I was watching anime at my desk, the servers were running fine. Dave shielded me from the C-suite parasites. Dave is gone. Enter the new regime. Be 3 weeks later. Enter Jessica. New Director of Engineering and People Culture. MBA from somewhere expensive, 0 GitHub commits. LinkedIn bio lists disruptor, intersectional technologist, and change agent. Pronouns in email signature are bolded, font size 14, larger than her actual title. First all-hands meeting. She talks for 45 minutes about empathy in engineering and decolonizing the code base. I'm checking server logs on my phone. She catches me. Eye contact is a form of respect, and we need to build a culture of presence. I look up deadpan. Server 4 just threw a heat warning. I'm rerouting the load balance. That can wait, our emotional connection as a team cannot. Red flag number 1. Big crimson waving in the wind, red flag. Week 2 of Jessica's reign. She schedules a 1-1 with me. I walk into her office. It smells like lavender and hostility. She has printed out code. It's a stack of paper, source code. She's holding a highlighter. Anon, I've been conducting a linguistic audit of our legacy systems. Linguistic audit. My blood pressure spikes. I noticed some extremely problematic terminology in the documentation and the comments. I stare at her. The code compiles Jessica, the trucks are moving. It's not just about function, it's about the environment we create. Look at this. She points to a line in the database replication config. Slave IO running equals yes. Master host equals 192.168.150. Master and slave architecture, she says, voice trembling with performative outrage. It's violent, it's rooted in historical trauma, it excludes POC engineers from feeling safe in our terminal. I blink. Jessica, that is standard industry terminology for database replication. It has been for 30 years. It describes a dependency relationship. It's unacceptable, I want it changed, everywhere. I lean forward. You want me to rename the fundamental architecture of the SQL clusters? Yes, use primary and replica. Okay, sure, I can change the documentation, but the internal flags, the hard-coded binaries in the warehouse controllers, they expect those strings. If I change the syntax, the handshake fails. You're making excuses to protect a patriarchal status quo. I'm telling you that the firmware on the robotic arms in the warehouse is hard-coded in 2008. It parses for the string master. If it doesn't receive it, it assumes a breach and locks down. Code is social constructs, and rewrite it. She hands me a pamphlet titled Coding with Compassion, removing gendered and hierarchical language from it. Be week 4. The demands escalate. She hates the term sanity check, says it's ableist against the neurodivergent. She hates kill process, says it promotes violence, wants it changed to stop process or retire process. She hates man hours, wants person hours. I spend 40 hours a week grepping text files instead of optimizing the SQL queries. Efficiency drops 12%. Latency goes up. I send her a weekly report, performance degradation due to semantic refactoring, risk of catastrophic failure high. She replies, your tone is noted, please work on your adaptability quotient, we are building the future. She hires 2 junior devs. Both fresh out of a boot camp that focuses on ethical coding. They don't know what a pointer is. They don't know memory management. But they are great at policing my Slack messages for microaggressions. I mention blacklisting a spam IP. HR meeting immediately. The term is allow list and deny list, and blacklist implies black is bad. It's a metaphor for light and physics, not race, I try to explain using logic. Impact over intent, Jessica says, smiling like a shark. Sign this PIP performance improvement plan. I look at the PIPs. Goal 1, complete the inclusive language refactor by end of month. Goal 2, mentor the juniors, who openly roll their eyes at me. Goal 3, attend mandatory sensitivity training. The breaking point. Jessica calls a meeting. We are pushing the new inclusive core update to production this Friday. I freeze. Friday, Black Friday is next week. Our volume triples. We are in code freeze. Code freezes are a tool of gatekeeping to prevent innovation, she recites from a LinkedIn post she probably wrote. Jessica, listen to me very carefully. The refactor touches the kernel modules for the sorter belts. I haven't been able to test the backward compatibility with the legacy PLC's programmable logic controllers because you denied the budget for a test lab. You said you were a senior architect. A senior architect should be confident. It's not confidence, it's math. The PLCs run on firmware that cannot be updated remotely. If the handshake string changes from ACK master to ACK primary, the belts stop. She stands up. I am tired of your mansplaining. You are obstructing progress because you can't handle a woman in charge. There it is. The card. I am trying to keep the company solvent. Do it, push the update Friday at 5 p.m. or pack your desk. I look at her. I look at the juniors smirking. I look at the HR rep in the corner taking notes on my insubordination. Stoicism kicks in. Emotion deleted. Logic engaged. The outcome is inevitable. The only variable is my liability. Can I get that in writing? A direct order to bypass the code freeze and push the refactor without hardware testing. Gladly. She sends the email. Subject: Directive, Deployment of Inclusive Core 2. Body: Despite resistance from legacy staff, we are moving forward. Blah blah blah. Anon is instructed to deploy immediately. B. Friday. 4:55 p.m. I have prepared the script. /deploy compassion sh. I have also prepared my backups, personal backups, encrypted, off-site. I have printed the email chain. I have updated my resume. I walk over to Jessica's glass-walled office. Ready to deploy. Finally, she says, not looking up from her phone. See, was that so hard? I go back to my desk. The juniors are watching. Hope you didn't break anything, old man, one says. I hit enter. Terminal scrolls green text. Variables renamed. Binaries recompiled. Services restarted. System status green. Jessica walks out clapping. See, it works. The patriarchy of the old code is dismantled. I look at the dashboard. The software is running perfectly. Because the software is now talking to itself in the new, inclusive language. But the hardware. 5:05 p.m. The warehouse in Ohio calls. Hey, the main sorter belt just stopped. 5:06 p.m. Nevada calls. The robotic arms just froze. They're flashing a red error code, invalid handshake. 5:07 p.m. Global dashboard lights up. Not red. Gray. Connection lost. The software is sending hello primary. The hardware is waiting for hello master. The hardware treats the silence as a physical cable cut. Safety protocols engage. Emergency brakes on 4-ton conveyor belts trigger simultaneously. In 12 warehouses across the country. The inertia tears the drive belts. Motors burn out trying to fight the brakes. Millions of dollars of medical equipment slams into each other on the sudden stops. Chaos. Phones exploding. Jessica comes running out. What did you do? I did exactly what you ordered. I deployed the inclusive language update. Fix it, roll it back. I look at the screen. I can't. What do you mean you can't? The software rollback is easy, but the hardware, the emergency brakes triggered, that's a physical fuse. You need maintenance teams on the ground in every state to manually replace the shear pins and reset the motors. And the motors might be fried because the logic controller didn't send the ramp down command, it just severed the link. Her face goes pale. How long? To fix the hardware, 3 weeks, maybe 4. We have to order parts from Germany. But Black Friday. Black Friday is canceled, Jessica. Enter the CEO. Zoom call, big screen in the conference room. He looks like he wants to murder someone. Why is operations at zero? Why are we losing $200,000 an hour? Jessica immediately points a manicured finger at me. Anand sabotaged the deployment. He has been resistant to the cultural update from day one. He wrote the malicious code. CEO looks at me. Anand explained. I don't speak. I open my laptop. I project my screen to the main monitor. I open the email folder named CYA Cover Your Ass. Item 1, the email warning about the hardware dependency on master-slave syntax. Item 2, the email explaining the cost of hardware refactoring versus software renaming. Item 3, the pip threatening to fire me if I didn't comply. Item 4, the direct order from Jessica, deploy without testing, stop making excuses. Silence in the room. The CEO reads the emails. His eyes scan the master-slave terminology argument. He looks at Jessica. You bricked our entire North American logistics network because you didn't like the word slave in a hidden config file that no human ever sees. Jessica stammers, it's about the principle we have to lead with values. Our value is shipping medicine to hospitals, you idiot, the CEO roars. He turns to me. Anand, fix it now, whatever it takes. I can't, sir. Why not? I was fired effectively 10 minutes ago via this pip for malicious compliance. Also, my contract states that any emergency work performed outside of standard scope requires a renegotiation. Also, I add, dropping the nuke, the proprietary driver code that bridges the Linux kernel to the German hardware. I wrote that as a contractor 8 years ago. The IP belongs to me. I licensed it to the company. The license expires. Well, technically it expired yesterday, but I was going to renew it until Jessica threatened my job. The CEO looks at Jessica. She is shrinking. You threatened the lead architect who owns the IP for our core driver. I didn't know. He didn't communicate effectively. The negotiation. CEO kicks Jessica out of the room. Name your price. First, she's gone, no severance for cause gross negligence. CEO nods, done. Second, the juniors go, I hire my own team, no HR involvement in technical hiring. Done. Third, I revert the code, but the hardware is still fried. I know a guy in Germany who can air freight the shear pins overnight, but it's going to cost triple. Pay it. Fourth, my rate, I'm resigning as an employee. CEO blinks, what? I'm coming back as an external consultant. My rate is $500 an hour with a 40-hour weekly minimum guarantee, and I want a 5% royalty on the IP license for the driver. The CEO does the math. It's millions. But the alternative is bankruptcy. Fine, get it running. The aftermath. I run a script. /restore legacy sh. Software is back to master slave in 30 seconds. I call my contact in Germany. Parts arrive Monday. We miss Black Friday, but we save the Christmas rush. Jessica tries to sue for wrongful termination and gender discrimination. Company countersues for damages caused by unauthorized alteration of critical infrastructure. Discovery phase reveals she faked her MBA credentials. She gets laughed out of court. The juniors are let go. I hire 2 guys I know from an IRC channel. They look like homeless wizards. They code in C like gods. HR tries to schedule an onboarding culture session for them. I send an email to the CEO. No. CEO replies, agreed. Be now. Sitting in the server room. It's cold, it's loud, it's beautiful. My bank account looks like a phone number. The logs scroll by. Masternode connected. Slave node 01 synced. Sanity check passed. I sip my coffee. Buzzwords are banned in the department. Meritocracy restored. Reality always wins. The twist I saved for myself. Jessica wasn't just incompetent. I dug into the logs later. She had hired a consultancy firm to help with the language audit. The firm was owned by her sister. She was funneling company money to her family to grep text files. I sent that info to the CEO anonymously a month later. Last I heard, she's facing fraud charges. Sometimes the patriarchy isn't the problem. Sometimes it's just that you tried to parse HTML with regex and got garbage collection. Be stoic. Be competent. Keep the receipts. MFW, the system is green.